graded, eventually given to the French army as a throw. The Harlem Hellfighters was a regiment of New York National Guardsmen in the First World War. They were set up to fail by their own government. They were humiliated, degraded, eventually given to the French army as a throwaway, and they ended up coming home as one of the most decorated units in the entire U.S. Army.
The Harlem Hellfighters are one of the most important regiments in American history. In World War I, they helped to establish to the entire world the power of black soldiers in the military.
It was very difficult at that time for African Americans to get into the United States military because there was this perception that African Americans would not do well in battle. They had to overcome the prejudice of their own countrymen and yet also perform ably on the battlefield.
Like so many units of African American descent, when they go overseas, they're not sure what they're going to do. Are they going to fight as infantry? Or are they going to be stevedores and load ships? Or are they going to be labor units and cut wood?
And so they're committed to labor duty, they're unloading ships, building the trains, those type of support services. And as you can imagine, these men have been trained and they're willing to fight, they're ready to fight, and this is stressful for them.
They were finally given to the French army, which in a way was an even greater insult, because in the First World War, when the United States entered, General Pershing, the commanding officer, was very clear that American forces would not be fed piecemeal into the French and British army. Because the French and British wanted reinforcements, and Pershing said absolutely not. When Americans join this war, they will fight as an American force under an American flag led by an American general. ... except for the black guys. You can have them.
Henry Johnson is perhaps one of the most remarkable black military heroes in U.S. history.
And he found himself in no man's land with Private Needham Roberts manning a listening post.
And Needham Roberts hears click, click, click. He realizes somebody's cutting the wire. It's potentially a German raid.
And so Roberts is passing him grenades, and they line up these grenades, and the Germans actually do come across the lines. Roberts is hurt, and now Henry Johnson is left to defend their position and to stave off this attack. And then he makes the mistake of jamming a French cartridge into his American gun, and it no longer will work. And the Germans are on top of it.
He then used his rifle like a club, and then he ended up fighting with a knife against the Kaiser's best, and turned them.
He's wounded in the fray. He's struck, for example, in the foot, and has a debilitating injury as a result. And he fights them off, he says, for what seemed like an hour.
The Germans ran shrieking into the night, all because of one man.
It's not until the next morning that people realize what a tremendous act this was. They discover 4 bodies of dead German soldiers. And they also realize from the equipment and other things that are left behind that as many as 30 may have been involved in this altercation.
As soon as he drove off those Germans, the French awarded him with the Croix de Guerre, a great honor. Unfortunately, it took about 75 years for the U.S. government to give him the Legion of Merit. Had he been white, he would have walked out of that war with the Medal of Honor. What was so shocking to me when I began to research the story of the Hellfighters was that after they had performed so magnificently in combat, the United States government actually sent a memorandum to the French government, essentially implementing Jim Crow. Essentially saying, don't give them some notion that they are equals, because we don't want them taking that notion back to the United States and demanding equality.
When he come back to the United States, he's not awarded the Purple Heart. There's no notation in his military record of his injury. And so he winds up not being able to work because of this injury. He doesn't get any kind of assistance from the army or from the government as a result. And he ends up dying in 1929 penniless. So it again shows the paradox. Here's this great story of valor and of courage on the part of this soldier, and ultimately he comes back to a nation that doesn't honor that sacrifice.
We tend to think we all know American history so well that the story of the Harlem Hellfighters should be one of the first stories told. It wasn't about killing other people. It was about being Americans and serving their country well. That was the inclination of the Harlem Hellfighters.
When you are African American in 1917, democracy is armor. Democracy is a weapon. And to fight for a war to make the world safe for democracy was something more than just some ethereal crusade for the Hellfighters. It had concrete results. They were fighting for the rights to be a citizen of the country that they were born in.
I would say this, that I do know that during that same war, that America was, as is today, so racist until the German officers, when they were captured, could eat in the same mess hall and have the same accommodations as the white American officers. But the black troops were segregated, couldn't come into that mess hall unless they were scrubbing the floors and washing dishes. So it was a white man honoring another white man, though one was American and one was German, and they were supposed to be enemies. There was still a tie that was able to bind the two together.
I can't believe exactly what I'm hearing. We went to war in World War II to fight for the freedom of speech. We didn't fight for freedom of speech of hatred. Many of our members, I'm the National Commander of Jewish War Veterans, and over 50,000 of our men died. They're fighting for your right to free speech here now. I don't understand why you come out with such hatred.
Phil, excuse me, Phil.
Mr. Muhammad. Sir.
You make me sick to my stomach with that. Because at the same time that you were fighting, you were not fighting for the freedom and independence of black people. Soldiers, black soldiers in segregated companies lost their lives on foreign soil there, but would have to come back and fight just to get a bite to eat and not have to go to the toilet on the side of the road somewhere in the bushes. So you're nothing but hypocrites, and you won't pull that small-time stuff over on me.
I just wanted to share something with you. Sean King, who writes for the New York Daily News and who I follow on Twitter, and if you don't follow Sean King on Twitter, do so. Sean King is brilliant. And he writes regularly for the New York Daily News. And he wrote this piece called Why I'll Never Stand Again for the Star-Spangled Banner. And I just want to share 3 paragraphs from Sean's piece about this. He says, first off, he's talking about the Star-Spangled Banner. He says, first off, the song, which was originally written as a poem, didn't become our national anthem until 1931, which was 117 years after Francis Scott Key wrote it. Most of us have no true idea what in the hell we've been hearing or singing all these years. But as it turns out, Key's full poem actually has a 3rd stanza, which few of us have ever heard. In it, he openly celebrates the murder of slaves. Yes, really. It goes like this. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And then Sean King goes on to explain what that means. He says, well, it's always been known that the song was written during American slavery, and that when those words about this nation being the land of the free didn't apply to the millions who had been held in bondage, few of us had any idea that the song itself was rooted in the celebration of slavery and the murder of Africans in America who were being hired by the British military to give them strength, not only in the War of 1812, but in the Battle of Fort McHenry in 1814. These black men were called the Corps of Colonial Marines, and they served valiantly for the British military, and Francis Scott Key despised them. He was glad to see them experience terror and death in war, to the point that he wrote a poem about it, and that poem is now our national anthem. While I fundamentally reject the notion that anyone who owned other human beings was either good, moral, or decent, Francis Scott Key left absolutely no doubt that he was a stone-cold bigot. He came from generations of plantation-owning bigots. Yeah, I don't call them plantations anymore. I call them concentration camps. But anyhow, they got wealthy off of it. Key, as District Attorney of Washington, fought for slavery and against abolitionists every chance he got. Even when Africans in D.C. were injured or murdered, Francis Scott Key stood strong against justice for them. He openly spoke racist words against Africans in America. He said that they were, quote, a distinct and inferior race of people which all experience proves to be the greatest evil that afflicts a community, end quote. This is in the context of Colin Kaepernick's refusal to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner. Sean King nails it, as Sean King so often does. And it's just a brilliant piece. Check it out. The British, yeah, well, I don't have time to go into the whole backstory. But anyhow, we'll be back right after the break.
You're listening to the Tom Hartman program. Call 202-808-9925.
The article.
Call, hello, Yum Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kadash. That's all praises to the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and Allah Shawan Kadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, the great millstone, who rule well, and salutations to all ye Akim on the highways and byways that's news in this gospel abroad on the four corners of earth, and today is the elect. I'm the brother Zion, and what you just watched was a video, actually it was a string of videos that was put together, and the title of this is Reasons the Star-Spangled Banner shouldn't be honored by black people. And if you don't know, all right, whom the world refers to as black people, all right, are the so-called Negroes here in America, not just in America, that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, are indeed the true Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah. Okay, that's the Most High's chosen people. All right, and it shows in our attributes, in our spirit, and how we are. Okay, so that was just a video of basically this the ways of the so-called white man. Right, and if you're a so-called black, Native American, Hispanic, or Israelite, according to the scriptures, and you still in 2018, a year of prophecy, can't see who your enemy is, man, you need to be put down. All right, so I got a few scriptures here I want to bring out. I want to make this quick, and Lord willing is edifying, you know. And really, we do these videos in hopes to reach into somebody that's it's not in the know. Our job is to seek out the Heavenly Father's elect, all right, and it's not our job we don't decide who's part of the elect, but to cast out that net, and hopefully that this word will hit their ears and it'll touch their brain. All right, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 26 verse 8. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry: a man of war that suffereth poverty. And when you watch this video, you see that it states how this man, this Jake, fought for the U.S. military. He fought bravely and courageously, and he died. And not only did he die poor, but when he came back to his so-called country in which he fought for, right, he was set by. He suffered poverty, right, and a man of valor is supposed to be somebody that's supposed to be esteemed in any society. All right, and it just goes to show you the level of hatred that Esau, the so-called white man, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of, it goes to show you that the level of hatred that he has for Jake, for our people. All right, and if this is not something that you could understand, then there's something wrong with you. All right, you're clearly blinded by the lies and the deception that this man puts out. All right, this hatred that he has, it stems from the beginning. All right, when you read the book of Genesis, you can read about the first Edomite on the planet, which is the first so-called white person, Esau, and that relationship between, all right, our forefathers, all right, our forefather Jacob. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 41, and it reads, "And Esau hated his brother because of the blessing wherein his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart," that's going back to the ancient Lashawan Kadash, all right, his Lahab, which means his mind. All right, in the morning for my father's, the days of mourning for my father at hand, then I will slay my brother Jacob. So it's in his mind always to undermine, to kill, and destroy the Hebrew Israelites. So the so-called war that's between the so-called black man and the so-called white man, it's not a war it's not a color thing. They want to make it seem as though it's a color thing, but it's a spirit thing. It goes way further deeper than the color of our skin as compared to the color of their skin. All right, it said for the blessing All right, they hate us because of our blessings, and the blessings is something that's a gift. All right, that's given from up above. All right, that's given from the Most High. All right, so our attributes are our spirit. All right, our bodies, our mind, our swag, our vibration, our energy is what they hate. All right, they hate that about us, and they will always hate that about us because we always have these attributes. All right, and the only thing that they can do. Only thing they could do to us is kill us. All right, this is Amos, Amos chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at I'll start at 11. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, power for 3 transgressions of Edom," and a transgression is a what? A trespass, right? So for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Now you got guys that's saying Esau is not the so-called white man, but your job, if you're into this ministry, right? Your job is to investigate, and when you do the investigation, you gotta put the pieces where they play. All right. Now the scriptures say they cast off all pity. This is clearly evidence of a nation casting off all pity upon another nation. You're not going to find another nation that has this natural hatred towards another nation and people. You're not going to find it. You're not going to find it on this planet, on a planet Earth. All right. That's why if the shoe fits, right, Esau has to wear it. Here are these jakes, right, and their docileness, right. Basically, sheep's being led to the slaughter, like the scriptures say. Trying to join the military, right? That's one of the highest ranking honors you could have. And joining the military, allow me to condescend and for a second, fighting for your country, right? And you get treated worse than the enemy combatants. Now, that just proves that it's not a color thing, or it's not a carnal thing, which is a fleshly thing or a worldly thing. It's a complete spiritual thing, because the people that they was going to war to fight with against, right, they were held on a higher standard than your own allies. Now picture that, man. Picture how deranged and messed up that has to be. For imagine you being a soldier, right? You going to war, right, or you're in a gang, or whatever the case may be. You're on one side and you have an opposition on the other side, and this opposition is hell-bent on trying to kill you, hell-bent on trying to take your life. The people that's by your side, that's defending you, that's helping you, that's trying to survive with you, those are the ones naturally that you're going to roll with. Those are the ones you're going to esteem. Those are the ones that you're going to break bread with. All right? You're going to put your trust in. Right? Not the opposition, not the enemy. It goes to show you the hatred that they have for us. It goes to, and not just the hatred that they have for us, but this is all this is very spiritual. It's very, very, very spiritual, okay? This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You see? So for the violence of thy brother Jacob, these people have, since the inception from us being over here, over 400 years, have a history of nothing but violence. Nothing but violence, forced labor, rape, and robbery, and murder, and treacherously, dealing with us deceitfully, splitting up our families. All right, the whole nine. The whole nine, they have a history, and they're not going to stop, because we just read that their anger did tear perpetually. So they don't know how to stop. They were chipped to have nothing but hatred towards us, man. And they will not hold themselves guilty. As you see this man right here, they're not going to hold themselves guilty for anything that they've done. Right? They could talk about, hold on, let's see this devil. Right? Let's listen to this devil real quick. Let's chop this up.
But I'm hearing, we went to war in World War II to fight for the freedom of speech. We didn't fight for freedom of speech of hatred.
And let me say something too. You say you went to war in World War II, the fight for freedom of speech. First of all, you didn't go to war to fight for freedom of speech, you dumbass. All right, America been a nation that was established off of freedom of speech. See, Esau got these buzzwords that he uses to sound good, about what he's saying, thinking that he's gonna rock a docile Jake to sleep. But those days is over, man. You just, oh, we fought for war, and somebody's supposed to have petty on you because you're a military veteran, and you fought. You so-called fought, but now we're the bad guys. All right, and World War II started in the 1940s. All right, back in the 1940s, Jake couldn't even use the same water fountains as so-called white people. All right, so the Jakes that fought in the Second World War, they wasn't able to come home and use their GI Bills like their white counterparts did. They wasn't able to use those tools that the government gave out to go get a home in the suburbs, right? And go to a school and get educated for free like white people. That prompted a whole a generation of middle class white folks that lived prospered and handed those homes and that education and those skills that they learned from the GI Bill, being able to go to school for college and getting houses interest free. Jake was excluded from that. So miss us with the bullshit. It's just that time of being docile, of kissing a so-called white man's ass, all right, of trying to join his military and fight and prove, go out of your way to prove that you're cool with him and you're all right and you're a hard worker. Those days are over. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 11 verse 23. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So you joining hand in hand with the so-called white man, those days are over. All right, the time is up. All right, the Heavenly Father is getting ready to judge this damn demon for all the iniquities that he has committed, and not just on us, but on the planet Earth in general. Period. All right. Romans chapter 13 verse 10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Right. So there's no love between us because they didn't fulfill the law. They didn't hold that brotherly covenant. All right. They broke they stole us. They stole from us. All right. They killed us. They robbed us. They raped us. Yet they gave us no rest. They gave us no pity. All right, and now they got to reap what they sow. They got to reap what they sow. Okay? As a matter of fact, I'm going to read this last verse because this is fitting. And that, knowing the time, that now is a high time to wake up out of sleep. For now our salvation, is our salvation nearer than we believe. So now is the time to wake the hell up, man. You so-called blacks, Native Americans, Hispanic. It's time to wake the hell up. All right, come back to your nationality. Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. Come back to your heritage. Understand that these red people, right? This red man is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of. He's the enemy. He's your natural enemy. He will always be your enemy. All right, always. He was created that way. Just like the Most High has a chosen people, the spiritual demon Satan has a chosen vessel, and that chosen vessel is clearly these Edomites, these pale devils that the scriptures speak of. Okay, so with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, double honor to the elder apostles of GMS, and shalom to you, Akim. Shalom.